So one last thing before we actually move on to creating our high poly version of this model is to tackle the idea of face normals. So if we're to go in here and look at the hard edges on the face of this clock, we can see that wherever we have one of these edge loops, here we actually have a hard edge, right? So if we look at one of these spikes, we have this hard edge because we have this 90-degree angle, and that's exactly what we want. On these nice smoother angles, that is not what we want. So to try to go ahead and alleviate this little issue, what we have to do is define the smoothing angle of these normals. And this all might sound like a bit of jargon, and it is. There's a pretty simple process on how to do this. So what you want to do is when you have something like this and you want to define it specifically, what you need to do is you need to go down to the data properties of that object. We need to go to normals and click auto smooth. And I almost always set this to 180. So you will notice that pretty much nothing changed. And that's because we haven't said that what parts we want to be smooth and which parts we want to be hard. Since we've set this, we can go ahead and go right click and go shade smooth, right? And that shades everything, and it looks a bit funny. But as soon as we start defining where we want hard edges, it will start to come back. So what we want to do is we want to go to edge selection. We want to go to wherever there's a hard edge. So there. So again, I'm just double clicking so I can select these entire rings. And now I've done that, I'm going to right click and go mark sharp. And I'm going to go back to object, and voila, there we are. We have exactly what we want. We've gotten rid of our little lines here. We've maintained the hard edges we actually want, and there was very little guesswork in it. So on the same note, we kind of want to get rid of the hard edges that we have on all of these. So a nice easy way to do that, because we've gotten rid of all the caps, all we need to do is right click shade smooth, and that should be enough to correct the issue. Obviously now it looks more like a cylinder without hard edges, but in case we make any weird edits later, we're just going to define this specifically as auto smooth and 180. And that should be everything we need to do with our normals for this particular object.